Here's another example of a black person talking about other black people. There's a segment of the population who enjoy this type of talk. They, the blacks who participate in these talks, acts as shields for the whites by saying the things that whites really want to say but don't want to be called racist. And the blacks who are saying these things are a lot of times badly misinformed or outright ignoring the system of white supremacy. This is one of those cases. Remember, the system of white supremacy is a set of laws, standards, and practices. This is an example of a standard employed by white supremacy and regurgitated by blacks. Let's take a look.
I'm about to make some people mad. And as I see it, the black community is the weakest link in the United States, and we need to step it up. So yeah, the world sees black children out here acting like this, and then we as black people want to get mad when black children or black people are stereotyped as dangerous or people feel unsafe around us. If we don't want to be stereotyped in a negative light, let's not give people something to stereotype us about.
First, the idea that other black people who commit crimes are somehow related to you or other black people in some way is a standard of white supremacy. You see, white supremacy sees all black people the exact same way, which is a standard you have adopted. The stereotypes are against us and will be used against us regardless of our actions. That's why it's a stereotype. Otherwise, scrutiny would fall on the individuals who do the action and not on those who do not do the action. So, your insistence that we need to step it up is an impossibility. Here's my point. Crime will inevitably happen in every racial community. It's how things are. But somehow, we as black people need to stop the criminal element within the people who look like us. Now, what other group is tasked with eradicating crime in their community? None, because it's not possible. And as long as there's crime in the black community, they can have people like you get on video and justify the stereotyping that's done.
Here is why I say the black community is the weakest link in the US. So we have the lowest household median income, okay? We are also pretty much the most obese race in the US as well. 75% of black adults are either overweight or obese in the US. 75%, 3 out of 4 people.
What the guy in the video is talking about with the 75% obese rate is BMI, or body mass index. What he's ignoring is where BMI came from and what it measures. BMI originates from a standard set for white beauty. This article in the American Medical Association Journal of Ethics chronicles how eugenicists, along with insurance companies, formed this standard. My first run-in with BMI was my freshman year in college. I was a safety on our football team. I was 5'11" and I was a chiseled 208 pounds. When we took the BMI test in my nutrition class, I was shocked to see I was considered obese. The professor told me not to worry. The BMI doesn't account for a lot of things. He was right. The BMI doesn't account for muscle mass, which, by the way, studies show that blacks on average have more muscle mass than whites, and it doesn't account for bone density, which of course, blacks on average have more bone density than whites as well. So the guy cites these stats on obesity, in which the standard for obesity was never meant to include what we as black people naturally have. It was meant for a standard of beauty for whites, and a way for insurance companies to overcharge blacks for weighing more and therefore deemed a higher risk. It's white supremacy. But the guy in the video, well, he isn't speaking to us. He's speaking to people like the guy in the comment section below. What he said was cut off, but I'm sure you know how this sentence ends.
Black men are about, let's say 6.5% of the population, and yet we commit about 50% of the murders in this country. Adjusted to our race percentage of the population, black people commit more crime than any other race. I'm running out of time, so part 2 coming soon.
This is just another white supremacist talking point. I did a video on this outlining the problems with saying blacks commit more crimes. Of course, he says it, but he can't know that to be true. One would have to have all knowledge of crimes to make such a claim. What he really means to say is blacks are convicted of more crimes. But when you say that, you have to explore the justice system. Like I said, I did another video about all of that. If you're interested, here it is. But this is just a lazy attempt to look into this while painting yourself as some type of crusader. Uninformed people like you and others are just used by the system to perpetuate the system, nothing more, nothing less.